All right, so this lecture is going to be on life in Nazi Germany, and we're going to start with how Hitler and the Nazis gained power. So you'll remember that the Nazis had tried to overthrow the German government in the 1920s with the beer hall push, and many of them were put in prison, and when they came out of prison, Hitler decided that they would run for office legally and try to take power legally. So the Nazi Party started running candidates for public office in Germany. As the economy got worse due to the Great Depression and the aftermath of World War I, the Nazi Party grew more successful. There were several reasons for their popularity. One, none of the respectable parties seemed to have a solution for the Great Depression. The Nazis looked well organized and exciting. The Nazis looked like the party of youth and fresh ideas. And the Nazis said they were the only ones who could stop the communists. Eventually, a serious political and economic crisis developed in the 1930s. There was high unemployment. No political party had a majority in the Reichstag, so no one could pass any laws. And the president was old and senile. So by 1932, the Nazis were the number one party in Germany. And in January of 1933, President Hindenburg appointed Hitler as chancellor, which was the number 2 job in Germany. Hindenburg and the other conservatives thought they could use Hitler to defeat the communists and then get rid of him. New elections for the Reichstag were scheduled for March. The Nazis hoped to get a majority in the Reichstag. In February, someone set fire to the Reichstag and burned it down. The Nazis blamed it on the communists. Later, the Nazis admitted that they did it. Hitler used the fire as an excuse to get the president to suspend civil liberties. This let the police, who were Nazi-controlled, arrest opponents and shut down non-Nazi newspapers. The Nazis got a near majority. By arresting or intimidating a few others, they were able to pass the Enabling Act, which put all power in the hands of the chancellor and the cabinet. The Constitution was dead. All right, so now we're going to switch gears and look at what life was like in Nazi Germany, starting with the loss of basic rights. So the Nazis eliminated the basic rights of all citizens. They shut down 1,600 newspapers and 5,000 magazines that did not support the Nazis. The government censored all newspapers and radio broadcasts. All other political parties were banned. Many books were burned, and the work of 2,500 writers was banned. Thousands of the Nazis' opponents were imprisoned or killed, and people accused of crimes had no rights. They could be held without trial, tortured, or even killed. Under the Nazis, the police became more powerful and more visible. In addition, there were many police spies. There was a powerful secret police known as the Gestapo, which could arrest anyone. There were no limits on their power, and they frequently tortured people. The Nazis used radio to help control people's minds. Between 1932 and 1942, the number of radios in Germany increased from 4.5 million to 16 million. There were radio speakers everywhere, even in the streets. They used movies to manipulate people. They were used to spread Nazi ideas and also to take people's minds off of what was really happening. Movie attendance also rose. In 1933, 250 million tickets were sold. By 1943, it was 1 billion tickets being sold. Nazis also used music to manipulate the people. Music by Jewish and black composers was banned. Music with nationalistic themes and music by German composers was stressed. The Nazis set up many different youth groups, known as Hitler Youth, and all German young people were strongly encouraged to join. They used these groups to teach the young people Nazi ideas. The schools used Nazi ideas to teach many subjects. By 1934, the Hitler Youth had over 3 million members. By 1939, it had over 7 million. Many university professors were fired either because they were Jewish or because they opposed the Nazis. About 30% left Germany. Nazi professors who replaced them weren't as good. Enrollment dropped by 50% as a result. The Nazis believed women should concentrate on children, church, and kitchen. Their main job, according to the Nazis, was to produce pure Aryan children. The Nazis did many things to encourage Aryan women to have more children, such as giving them special medals for women who had lots of children, providing extra money for large families, discouraging women from working outside their homes, and after World War II began, encouraging unmarried women to have children to replace the men lost in the war. Nazis did not want non-Aryan or imperfect women to have children and sterilized over 150,000 women in Germany. To promote leisure activities, Nazis provided low-cost concerts, sports events, and vacations through the Strength Through Joy program. The Nazis eliminated unemployment by building up the military and building weapons, which was a violation of the Treaty of Versailles. Strikes, labor unions, and collective bargaining were all outlawed. The work week was 60 to 72 hours. Workers could not leave their jobs without government approval, and they could not protest any of this because Hitler had banned strikes and labor unions. Farmers could not lose their land, but they also could not leave their farms even if they wanted to. And businesses could still be privately owned, but taxes were high and everyone had to make voluntary contributions to the Nazi Party. What the Nazis are probably most known for is their persecution of minority groups. So the Nazis believed that all men were not created equal. They believed that one group was superior to all others. They called it the Aryan race, Aryan, which would be the blonde, blue-eyed, tall people with fair skin in Europe. They believed that mixing different groups of people weakened the superior group. They persecuted several groups of people who the Nazis considered inferior, such as Jews, mentally and physically disabled people, gypsies, homosexuals, and blacks, particularly the children of German mothers and African fathers. In 1935, the Nazis passed a set of laws known as the Nuremberg Laws, which were against Jews. The laws included the following. Jews could not hold many jobs, especially in the fields of law, medicine, teaching, and journalism, etc. Jews could not marry Aryans and could not employ Aryans. Jews could not own property, and Jews lost their German citizenship, and many were expelled from Germany. The ID cards that Jews carried had a big J. Later, they also had to wear special badges.